love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Business Brain. This is the Grand Lagoda Papa Lifestyle Podcast, Business Mastermind. And this is another one on the fly. It wasn't scripted, it has not been researched. It just came actually 5 minutes ago from something I just said to my wife. It's Sunday morning and she was talking about, answering some WhatsApps, some business WhatsApps. And I said to her, yeah, business never stops. And I thought to myself, yeah, so true. Business never stops. That's why I stopped business. And I'll say that again, because my new little motto now. Business never stops. That's why I stopped business. What does that mean? Basically, if you run a business, everybody knows if you run your own business, business never stops. There is never a moment where you don't have something to do. And depending on how you organize yourself, there's never a moment where you're not doing something business related. Let's be absolutely honest. If we had the ability to not sleep, any of us are running our own business, particularly startups, much worse when it's a startup, could quite happily fill 24 hours of every day with work. There is always something to do. If you're a small business startup, a one-man band, a consultancy, not only have you got your own work to do, you've got marketing and promotions, then you've got your taxes to take care of. If you've got employees, you've got your employees' taxes. You've got everything related to managing your employees and managing their work. Giving them, what's the word I'm looking for? Giving them resumes. Managing their work, looking at them. There's always something to do. There's always something to do. So this is one of the reasons why many years ago, after doing that, and I'll tell you what I mean by doing that. I remember when we started up our businesses, some things that I'll never forget. I remember working all day. We had very young children. They were both under 5 or 6 years old. And I remember working all day while looking after very young children and being up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, shoving chocolate and sweets into my mouth while I'm, as sugar energy boosts to try and keep awake because we had work to complete. We were doing this advert for a newspaper and writing this business proposal and blah, blah. Myself and my wife were both there doing this, working until late hours of the morning. Literally, I don't think we were particularly caffeine drinkers, although I remember I've done that kind of stuff when I was studying at university, but I remember particularly because I like chocolate, shoving chocolate in my mouth as a sugar boost to keep on working into early hours of the night to go and catch a couple of hours sleep before one of the two kids woke up between 3 and 4 in the morning and someone had to get up and go and nurse them. So, business will never ever stop. So after many years in business, and after many years of hearing people, I remember I worked with one guy who actually was particularly not a very good businessman, somebody he really thought he was, but actually he was an awful businessman. And I remember he said something like, again, he worked in real estate, and he was, he'd come from a non-real estate background and come to the Costa del Sol as you do, run a bar for a while as you do. There's so many people who've done that, and then he had gone into real estate. Now, I know a couple of people who've done this. Some of them are very good real estate agents. I've business partnered with them, and some of them weren't. But this particular guy, I remember he had this quote, and he said, if somebody wants to do business, they can call me at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll jump out of bed and I'll go and work. And, there's that whole, what we call that Protestant work ethic that, you actually think that commitment to working hard somehow also means that you're working well. Whereas actually I've come to find that it's the complete utter opposite. And, most of the personal development business type stuff will tell you that. Firstly, organize yourself. Organize yourself so the work you're doing is effective. Nobody wants you to go the longest route to get from point A to B when you could have organized yourself and got there much more effectively. It benefits everybody. But aside from that, I really decided many years ago, what my business hours were going to be and what my social hours were going to be. The time I was going to take my family, the time I was going to put into my business on a daily basis, and the time I was going to give to myself. And what that meant for me in particular, because in the mobile phone generation that we live in, this was really one of the things. Now, I've seen this with my wife, and I used to have this conversation with her all the time, but I don't take a step back. My wife does management and lettings, and one of the things that we've had is that, anybody who does this, I knew another guy who also sold properties, and he lived on the urbanization where he was selling the properties for the promoter. And he would talk about people he'd sold properties to would come and ring his doorbell at like 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. And I had the same thing with my wife, where people she'd rented properties to on the urbanization where we lived at the time would come and ring our doorbell at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. The one that, broke the donkey's back for me, unforgivable. And we don't even celebrate Christmas, but somebody still took it upon themselves to come and ring our doorbell at midday on a Christmas day. Now, bearing in mind that, we live in Western Europe, and this was an English person who was very, very well aware that most English people would be celebrating, having some kind of a celebration, and at the very least, it's a public holiday around most of the Christian world on the 25th of December. Yet he still felt that he had the right to ring our doorbell 12 o'clock or whatever it was on Christmas Day, when, we were just having what we always have is a wonderful family day, because we can't work because it's a national holiday. So, we have a wonderful family day and spend time with our family. It's one of those set times that we get to spend with our family. And the day he was ringing the bell, and he wasn't anything urgent. He didn't have a burst pipe. His house wasn't flooding. It was something that he could have spoken about at any other given time, but just thought that he had the right to do that because we'd given him the business. So it's really all about setting boundaries. And I think that was actually, when I think about it, I think that was one of the days, one of the defining moments that made me realize that this is all about setting boundaries. So with the mobile phone, even before WhatsApp, people again thought they had the right to contact you at any time because your mobile phone was meant to be on you. It's funny because I remember when email came in, and it's so funny to watch the transition. I remember people saying, "Oh, you're on the computer all the time answering emails." And I again I fell in the trap of answering my emails very late at night and had been engaged like that. But the funny thing was, at least with emails, people knew that you had to be at a computer. And before the laptop, I'm going way back, you had to be at a desktop. So if you were out with clients or out doing any other kind of business or just out of your house, no one expected your instant response to their message. With the mobile phone and texting, that all changed. And once people engaged in that, then people again thought that they had the right, that because they'd given you business, they now had the right to contact you anytime. And I used to always say this. I'd say, like, listen, mate, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not a member of the emergency services. I sell property. There is very little that I do that needs to be dealt with between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning. Very few things. If I rented property, of course it's different. If you're locked out of your home, you've lost your key's broken in the lock, the pipes burst, you need an emergency plumber, somebody's collapsed and you need a doctor. Of course, all emergencies are welcome. But when I'm selling property and doing mortgages, the probability of me having that kind of emergency is very low. Now, therefore, there is no reason for you to contact me after the hours of 8 p.m. and before the hour of 8 a.m. in the morning. For me, realistically, more like 10. Out here in Spain, the working day, pretty much, unless you're working in the banking system, starts at 10 a.m. in the morning. Unless you're working in construction or banking or something like that. It's 10 a.m. in the morning till 8. So if you don't have an emergency, don't contact me between those hours. It's just really as simple as that. And I always say to people, and I had this conversation with a few rentals I've done. We have some big companies out here, and when they used to call me at like 10 o'clock at night, I'd say to them, can you go to the supermarket at 10 o'clock at night? No. Can you go to the furniture store at 10 o'clock at night? 11 o'clock at night? No. Well, then what the fuck are you calling me for? Do you know what I mean? It's that it's the thing about small business that people think that you have to be grateful for their business, and therefore they feel entitled to treat you and use you in a way they wouldn't treat anybody else. I'm not Arkwrights. I'm not open all hours. I have a family who come first, and I have a life. Then I have a business. My business funds the family. Obviously, we need money to live and fund the things I want to do to enjoy my life. But don't get that twisted. Don't get it backwards. So at the end of the day, you have to stop business. And everybody knows me. Like, my kids have got this wonderful thing, and it's so true. It comes from a Rihanna song called Work, and there's a line that she goes, "Nobody call me in a crisis," and that's what it is. It's like they said, you can't call that a crisis, because I don't respond to phone or WhatsApp or social media stimulation. I will get back to you when I'm free to get back to you. I don't respond to that. kind of stimulus, and it is a stimulus, and it's a response stimulus. And I really think in business you have to train the people that you are working with. You know, that you will get back to them within a sensible period of time. Now, we all know this. You've all sent an email to somebody and got an automatic response that said, "Thank you for your inquiry. One of our agents will get back to you in the next 24 and or 48 hours." That's how all messaging should be. They don't know whether your car is broken down on the corner of a precipice. They don't know whether you're having a family meeting. They don't know whether you're they don't know if you're having a family meeting or a family birth or circumstance. They don't know anything about your personal circumstances, yet they feel at liberty to contact you all these times a day. So my point is this. I simply do not. As I said, business never stops, so you have to stop business. I don't work between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. I don't do customer-facing work. As I said, I'm a businessman, so my work never stops. Anybody who knows me, I work well past 11 or midnight, depending. I organize my day differently, so it suits me. But I don't do customer-facing work after 8 p.m. and I don't do it before 10 a.m. in the morning. I have to stop business. And what does it allow me to do? Stopping business allows me to plan my social time. Somebody once said, which, you know, really... So as a guy once said to me, plan your leisure time and the rest is work. Funny enough, quite a reprehensible guy, but you know, I always find this is the wonderful thing. You can learn something, you can get a gem of knowledge or wisdom from anybody. So even if you don't like people, I said this a million times, always listen to what they say, because half the time this wisdom doesn't come from them. I'm sure this guy didn't invent this, I've heard it subsequently, but I found it to be such a useful nugget of information. Plan your leisure time and the rest is work. Now, I've really adopted that, and I'm not great at it like most people. I fail most of the time, but here's the deal. Most importantly, I plan my family time. You know, so you know, if you're a young couple, you've got a girlfriend, or you're just you're married, and you're running a business, plan your date nights. Know that no matter what happens, once a week or once a month, you're going to go out for a date, and unless it's an absolute emergency, it doesn't change. And in this world, believe me when I tell you, I know everyone's different, but this is my personal advice. Switch your phone off. Have an agreement that neither of you are going to be answering WhatsApps or looking at your Facebook or checking your Instagram or just be in the moment with each other. If you've got a family, exactly the same thing. Now, I know that unfortunately, part of, you know, being with family and friends and your girlfriend now is being on these social media things. So if you're going to have to Insta your meal, you know, do it together. Do an Instagram of here I am, my beautiful girlfriend, here I'm my beautiful boyfriend. Here I am with my family eating this wonderful meal in this wonderful restaurant. Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. I started from Rants and Bants. If you haven't checked him out, I ain't getting no commission for it, but he's hilarious. But my point is this, you know, plan your social time and then the rest is work. I am a big believer. I put it in my diary every day. So my diary comes up first of the month. Plan something for yourself. Do something you want to do. Go to a concert. You know, go to the beach. Do something, you know, for yourself. Put that in the plan. Unmovable. And you know, so I consciously now go out looking for concerts. I love music concerts. Looking for concerts that I want to go to or places that I want to go and see. And then I put it in the diary, and it's in the diary. And unless something comes up that's an emergency, it stays in the diary, and I do it. Because we all know there is no point in working hard and amassing money, fame, wealth, security if you don't actually give back to yourself. Giving back to yourself, the enjoyment of your life is the fuel to get all of that done. So I truly believe that. So as I said, business is never done. So you have to, you know, but business never stops. I think it would start off by saying business never stops. So you have to stop business. Don't let people exploit you if you're a new business. Don't let people treat you any other way than they would big businesses. They don't get to call, like I said, the head of Tesco's. You know, I was going to finish it up, but I'm just going to give you one last example. I made an investment for a friend right around the time the crisis came, and we both lost our money, right? I brought him in because I really had love for this guy, and I was doing an investment, so I brought him into the investment, and the recession came. One of the guys was unscrupulous who I was working with, and we lost our money, right? One day, this guy turned up at my door on a Sunday morning, same story, talking to me about how he needed his money back. And I was like, dude, I really feel you, but this is right in the slap bang of the recession of, 2000, and let's say the recession of 2000, it started 7 through to 2010. So we had the big story of the time was Iceland and all the UK government councils that had invested in all these multi-millions of pounds into this Iceland scheme, and it had gone, it had crashed, and they were talking about they couldn't pay their pensions, they couldn't pay their wages. We had RBS, we had Lehman Brothers, all these big banks were going bust. And I said to him, bro, I know we're friends and I appreciate the edification. Part of the reason you invested with me was because we are friends. But you knew it was an investment and my money was in it. There's no such thing as a guarantee. We're both trying to make money. I brought you into something that I put my money into because I swore to myself that I believed it was going to make money, and I wanted to do the same for you. I said, but do you think those people stood outside of Northern Rock, or those people, working for the council, or even the councils trying to get their money out of that Iceland scheme? Do you think they can turn up at the CEO of any of those companies on a Sunday morning talking about what you're going to do about my money? And I told him straight, I said, to be honest with you, you think that I abused our friendship because I put you into an investment, but it went wrong, but I didn't. You could have told me as a friend, no, I've got lots of friends who have shown investments. I've said, hey, Felix, thank you, man. That's really interesting, but no, I don't want to do that. Some of you have said, I don't want to invest with you because I don't want to ruin our friendship. But you took on the investment because you wanted to make the money and it seemed solid to you like it seemed solid to me. So I said, I never abused our friendship. I never abused our friendship by putting you in the investment. You are the one who's abusing our friendship right now by turning up to my family home on a Sunday morning, unannounced, to ask me what I'm going to do about the money that we lost. So don't allow people to abuse you because you're a small business or because of their relationship with you. Business never stops, so you have to stop business. It was an inappropriate time for him to be at my front door. And, it could have gone very badly, because we're both martial artists. I'd have lost, dude. I don't want to make any mistake about what I'm trying to say about that. What I meant is that it could have just gone in a very bad direction. That there would have been any kind of 50-50 in that particular situation. But my point was, I was being abused, basically. It was abusing our friendship. And it just is another example of, why you have to stop business. No business never stops. That's not the same as money never sleeps. Money never sleeps. Gordon Gekko said it and every other rapper said it ever since. And that's wonderful. That's why you have to invest. Because the good thing is you can stop business. You can stop trading. You can stop looking after your investment property. You can stop actually physically working. But the investment that you put in, you can stop working on your book and publish it. That goes on and keeps on making you money while you're not working. That's the good part of business never stops. But you have to stop business. You have to call time on when you are, and when you are not working. So it went on a little bit longer than I thought. No surprise when it's coming down to me. So I hope this is valuable. I was really hoping I was going to do this in 5 to 10 minutes. But my point is, like I said, really you have to stop business. Plan your work. Plan your social time. Plan your social time. And the rest is work. Well, nothing else to say other than the way we love to end off. Always remember, my people, business is not about exploiting others. It's about getting rewarded financially or otherwise for adding value and benefit to other people's lives. And in doing so, improving the world. And as such, I wish that your business grows in abundance. Here's to our success.
I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math.